Alright, so one of the newer features is this additional button here to access the material properties. This is an example where there's just one material, and maybe in the future we'll actually see the name that it was given in the OBJ file or in the material file. But for now, you see it's just the first one, and we can set the diffuse color and get some differences here. But there's also some other parameters. There's the roughness. You can now adjust them right here instead of going into the material file. So you can increase the amount of metallic, you can increase or decrease the roughness to make it a little bit more dispersed. You can add some clear coat. There's also a bump. Now that one will be useful when you actually enable a texture map on top of it. So we'll take a look at that in a second, but let's just increase this one here to a brighter. So now we see a little bit more of a metallic, like silverish look. And of course, the impression we get from that is also a function of, well, what's the environment map? So if you put it into a room, you might see some parts of that room reflecting in it. Maybe some opening windows, maybe some other features in that room, like some ceilings. And when you zoom in, you might perhaps be able to see something a little bit more detailed. So now we don't save these material properties back in the material file, right? This time we read them, or we try to, and then we see what we can adjust. When we go here to this new feature, we can adjust them, but we're not going to save them. So when you go back in, it might reset some stuff because it may have read back the original, and there are some parameters here that are making it a bit difficult. So you will want to be cautious about this. This is not saving the information just yet. Maybe we'll do that in a future version, but at least you have the ability here to give it very different look for just a couple of clicks and slides. And so you can see here, this one's a little bit more metallic looking, but a different type of metal. Whereas the one before was a bit more, I don't know, golden. And then here, of course, that's not the material property, that's the light source. And that also can add a little bit to it. Right? All right, so let's see where else could we go with that. Well, I have this brush here. That's actually an animated brush. If I show the film strip, you can see the same elephant rear view in a couple of different ways. And that's exactly the same 3D OBJ file, but with changes in the material properties. So you can stamp it down, and you can see a couple of different editions of that same elephant, right? And some of them will show the reflection, the image. Some of them may have a very diffuse reflection, like this one here. So it may appear very very different from one instance to another. Here is another great example. Oh, and you notice I did clip it off at the top, right? But you basically get to do stuff like that with it now. You have different coloring added with that reflection, the environment map, and you don't need to put that into the OBJ file itself. You can add that at the time of rendering. So that's one of the greater new features I wanted to show. Let's just do the whole step here. I'm going to go and clear this. Let's go, let's hide the map for the brush. Let's go to rendering a background image. Let's say plasma noise. Yeah, that's fine. Let's make it a bit more grayscale. Maybe use the colored lens to say which way we like it. Something like this. I like this feature here. We could put a star right there. That's, you know, like a breeding ground for new stars, a nursery. Let's store this one, and what we do at this point, of course, is to go back to the rendering, render, geometry, and I think I have it down in another folder. This one here on the F drive, external OBJ, and I don't remember exactly where it is. Let me look around a bit quick. No, that's not the one. I was looking for another one. I forget what the name is. We'll find it. Well, let's take a look at that one. That should be fine too. There's perhaps two materials here. Let's go find out. Ooh, there's actually a bunch. So that's not ideal because we don't know which one is which yet. I'm going to have to experiment with that. But certainly we can show that if you have a material property, there you go, there you see some metallic appearance change here, and some of them will be quite easily found, some of them may not be so easily seen, but you can see there's some metallic reflection of the surrounding environment. Let's see if I go to the next one. Just apply at least some, reduce the roughness and apply some metallic to all of them if you want them to show the environment reflecting in there. Soon enough we'll see those solar panels. There you go. And if you reduce the roughness a little bit, you'll get perhaps even an idea of what that image is that's being reflected in it there. Let's see one more. Two more. The wheels, not too reflective. A little bit more like rubber would be roughness, dispersing the environment if there's any reflection. And then one more. There you go. Okay, so let's say we want that. And of course now you still have additional reflections. You see the lights here, that's from the light source. You can rotate that light source and get a nice little effect there, and maybe change the environment map, and you get a little bit of blue there from the sky. Or let's say you want this to be inside a room. There's going to be some areas that we can see there's a reflection of the environment, so the colors are like a gradient. It appears almost like there's a gradient going across, but it's just automatic because we have this spherical environment. And maybe down here a bit of a greenish if we landed on a planet with some plankton. And there you go. All right, let's keep it like this. We could also increase or decrease the brightness of this, the two light sources, add a little bit of ambient light, the red planet a little bit reddish perhaps. And there it is. Let's go one more thing. Let's go move in a little bit. Okay. All right, and then that's it. Hopefully you'll get to explore that new feature that's really useful for giving a different appearance, simply editing the material properties that are associated with the OBJ file and found in the MTL material file. All right, thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon on the next tutorials.